let's talk about it. So the Brrrr method doesn't mean you're freezing and we're going in the winter, although it kind of feels like that. B, R, 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 and some reason they've thrown in another R. This is a new spin on it in the last 5 years. This is how far I am out of the Brrrr. So the first one stands for buy. That's all you need. So that's wholesaling right here. Okay. The rest of the stuff down has nothing to do with wholesaling. Honestly, I almost feel like I'm wasting your time showing it to you, but I want you to understand when the strategy comes up so you don't get taken advantage of or like you don't get stuck, because the Brrrr method can be a challenge. So the first one's buy. The second one is rehab. Okay. The third one is rent. The next one is refinance. And then the last one is going to be the repeat, which this is ridiculous because anything you do to make money, you repeat. So I never say do wholesaling and repeat it. So this is ridiculous. Somebody put that in there for a marketing course. And I just want you guys to understand. So it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, because I'm not bright enough to keep doing that over and over. So to me, this method is really nothing more, in my opinion, than a financing strategy. That's all it is, guys. It's a financing strategy. So you've got to understand when it comes to real estate, you have two cash take opportunities. Okay, you ready? Number one, you take the cash out now. Okay? This is what we do in wholesaling. The key word here is now. Why do you do that now? The reason you do any type of cash now, even fix and flippers, it's more like later, it's not now, is because you're minimizing your risk. What are we minimizing? Our cash risk and time. Okay? That's number one. Strategy number two is building long-term wealth. Okay? So you have a choice in any type of real estate investing. It's take the cash today, make your money, and then the idea is to take those profits to pay bills and reinvest in other sources of real estate, or you keep the property to preserve the equity in it and have it cash flow like crazy. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you why the Brrrr method thinks the Brrrr method, just so you know, watch this. It thinks it's right in here between, but it's not. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. The Brrrr method supposedly was created so you could take some cash now and then you could build the long-term wealth. The problem with that, the cost to do the Brrrr method are excessive. If you guys provide me in the comment, what percentage of your equity spread in any real estate deal, I'm talking on single family homes, do you think you have to give up to do the Brrrr method? Please put it in the notes. I'll tell you who's the winner of it. Remember, it's an estimate. It's a little bit different based on everyone's situation, but there is a percentage of equity you give up when you do the Brrrr method. Put it in there. Jason's a little high at 25%, but it's a good shot. So it's going to be lower than that. Although probably 25% between mental and like all the breakdowns you're going to have, you could probably be right on that. Okay, I'm going to start in the next section why somebody gets the number right. So it's lower than 25, but I appreciate Jason throwing it out there first. So 18 still. So young Primo's right about at 12, but the minimum is 10%, guys. You will give up 10% of any deal you do the Brrrr method in. And honestly, it's only if everything goes the way you need it to. So let's talk about this. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. So let me go back to my comments here. So let's go back. So I'm not going to talk about the buy. The buy is ridiculous. The buy is where we make money at wholesaling. We are ninja marketers. It's what we learn. It's where you're going to make your money. The Brrrr method is nothing more than a strategy. Okay. And if you get sold on this strategy, you are stuck because there's no retreating once you do the Brrrr method. Okay. So we talked about the buy. That's about the only place a wholesaler can help is on the buy. And this is where you need to focus all your energy. Okay. So the next one, we talk about rehab. Okay. What is rehab? Rehab is designed for fix and flip. It is a skill set. Okay. It's a skill set that's going to focus on what? Construction. So do you have the construction fortitude to basically run a budget, manage contractors, and then more importantly, get it done on time? Okay. So guys, I've been in this. I'm telling you, rehabbing sucks. There's no other word for it. That's why you have fix and flip shows because it really has nothing to do with wholesaling. It has so on most fix and flips, just so you know, here's the big problem. Okay. On average, they go over 15 to 25% of budget on average. And those are experienced people. And then time. They're a big time drain. Okay. The average fix and flip in this country is 6 to 12 months. And I know what you're going to say, Rick, I get them done in 3. I'm telling you, the cost of doing construction right now is outrageous. And what's the 2 things you do not control in fix and flip? You can't control the budget because once you start opening up walls, it is a risk factor. Number 2, time. If you get into a big one, you got to redo the roof or something, you have to finish it. There's no halfway doing it. You guys don't have x-ray visions to look in that wall. I'm telling you, fix and flip takes out more wholesalers than any other avenue of all these other types of businesses you can do. If you became a wholesaler and you get into fix and flip because somebody sucked you into the Brrrr method, you are in trouble. Okay. It's a job you have to show up every day. Also, when you're doing a rehab, think about this for a second. This is the crazy part. Okay. How do you do the rehab? You have to get a hard money loan. Okay. Guys, what do you think the terms on our hard money are right now? I mean, in even a normal market, say like normal in the last year. Okay. I'm going to tell you, because we're going to time. Right now, it's 12% and 3 points. So if you were borrowing $100,000, basically they charge you $3,000 plus 12%. And most hard money has a minimum time. The least I've ever seen is like 90 days, but usually like 90 to 180 days. Okay. Minimum. Okay. So now let's go to the next part. This just gets better. Okay. So if you survive the rehab, okay, then we're going to go to the next R, which is what? Rent. Okay. So what's the skill set of a renter? It's being a landlord. Okay. Are you soft? Do you buy everyone's story? Can you deal with tenants? Can you deal with stuffed toilets? Guys, this is all landlord stuff. And then you're going to go, no, Rick, I'm hiring a management company. Okay, perfect. Awesome. You're going to give up 10 to 12% of your net cash flow. And then you got to manage the property manager, which is not as easy as you think it is. Okay. What else are you going to have? You're going to have variable rents, especially right now. And you're going to have vacancy. They're a single family home. Sometimes people move out. It goes, it's either 100% or zero. Guys, if you're not used to this stuff, it is going to be painful. Okay. So I'm going to move through it because I don't want to tie up a bunch of time. Let's go to the last real R, which is refinance. Okay. So now say you've owned the property, say 5-6 months. Okay. You've already paid a ton of fees and everything else you're doing on it. Now you have to refinance it. Here's the problem with refinancing. Okay. Now you're going to traditional banks. Okay. So what's a traditional bank going to ask you for? Number one, they're going to ask for a seasoned property. Seasoned property means how long have you owned it for? Typically, most banks are going to refinance. They want 6 to 12 months. I'm telling you, typical banks, guys. Okay. There are people that got better track records, do this all the time. They can get them done as little as 3 months. But for the most part, it's 6 to 12 months. Ask me how I know, because I see them all the time. Number two. Okay. The underwriting guidelines are going to be 70 to 75% of ARV. Okay. You're all told, no, Rick, I can get it done for 80. I'm telling you right now, unless you're perfect credit, perfect everything, and you've done a lot of these, you're not getting 80. Okay. And 80 is going to require 12 months of seasoning on average. Okay. Guys, I'm talking on average. If you guys go and do this tomorrow, especially your first few, you're going to have stricter requirements because the bank doesn't trust you. The next thing is you need to get an appraisal. You are completely at the bank's mercy on the appraisal. Okay. If it comes in light, you're stuck. What are you going to do if you get a bad appraisal? You're in big trouble. Okay. Guys. And then if you get through all of this stuff, you're going to pay about 3% in loan costs. So say you had a $200K loan. Okay. You're going to pay $6,000 in loan cost. And then guess what? In the refinance, you have to close the property again. You have to do another set of closing. Okay. So think about what the closing is going to cost you. On average, the closing is going to cost you another 3%. And guess what? That's another 6,000. Guys, it's ridiculous. By the end of this, you're going to be out 10 to 12% in equity. Okay. So let me just kind of run you through the math. Not only do I not like the Brrrr method because of the current interest rates, you don't need me telling you that. Okay. We all know it's higher and it's tougher right now, but even if we have 3-4% interest rates, you've got to understand the Brrrr method's a strategy. And once you start it, you can't quit it. You are committed to it. Okay. The people who truly want to create wealth is they'll close on the property, find a permanent type of financing solution, and then they'll let it cash flow till the day they want to cash their chips in. That's how you get the most equity out of a property. A lot of people say, well, you can do the Brrrr method and then, every few years you can swap it up. Well, are you willing to pay 3 to 6% in equity every time to trade out the property to pull a little bit more cash out of it? It doesn't work on single family like that. And remember, you're most likely going to have to escrow your payments. You're going to pay a higher interest rate because it's an investment loan and you're riskier. You have no control of the appraisal, the seasoning, and you're probably going to wind out at 70% cash out. Guys, do the math on this, okay? Without getting into this, right now in today's market, if you don't buy a property at 50 cents on the dollar with the rehab, you have little to no shot at surviving the Brrrr method, okay? The Brrrr method, to be honest, was created in the apartment industry. Now, imagine doing 100 units in one shot. Now it makes sense to pay all the bank fees and do everything because those properties are predicated on cash flow, whereas the Brrrr method on single family houses is 100% dependent on market conditions. Okay. So let's talk about the two biggest problems of the Brrrr method. And then let's just get in and start talking to you guys. I guess you can throw in that other R. That one ticks me off. Okay. The biggest problem here is rehab. It's going to control your time and your money, and you're going to get both of them wrong. until you do like 15 or 20 of these. That's how it worked for me. Okay. And that's a huge, you have no control of it. None of your wholesaling skills are going to fix you in that one. Okay. And then the next one is on the refinance. Okay. You can't control the market, which is going to affect the appraisal. And then, and then you got to deal with the interest rate. Okay. Which we know is going to be the market rate. And then you have to deal with all the traditional bank financing headaches. Do you have a foreclosure on your record? Is your credit subpar? Have you gone through bankruptcy? Have you lost your job? Do you have a terrible DTI score? They're not going to give it to you if you have any of this stuff. Oh, the property stands on its own, not on your first view. I promise you this. So I'm just telling you guys, because of the Brrrr method, if the rehab's going to take you out and then the refinance is going to take you out. And if not, I promise you the rental part will most likely just break you. Because I know a lot of you want to do it yourself and you don't understand how hard it is to manage rental properties. These tenants are really tough on them. Do you know the average single family home is never meant to be a rental? Drywall was never made for heavy use. Okay. A lot of my rentals, they have concrete block. I pick my rentals out like I'm going military style, and that's what you guys have to do with it. So if you're considering doing the Brrrr method and anybody wants to talk about it, let me get this off the screen here because it's annoying. I know the interest rates are high, but for the most part, everybody talks about the Brrrr method. Here's the question. Here's the problem. You have to deal with a rehab. You have no experience doing a rehab. And then a lot of hard money lenders, if you're new to this, they don't want to loan you the money for the rehab either. Okay. And remember, your hard money is going to be 12% and then 3 points. And so that's going to throw another $6,000 to $8,000 on the expense here. I was going to go through an example on the number. It doesn't matter what example I give you. It's still the same problem. Okay. I don't like the Brrrr method. And if you've never done it before and you don't understand it, ask questions. Here's the problem with the Brrrr method. 70 to 75% is all the bank's going to give you on the appraised value. Okay. And if you have to fix it up, that's crazy. I much rather you guys, if you really want to do the hybrid, you want to take some money up front, but you want to bank on future cash flow and equity, creative financing is the way to go. Okay. Going to a traditional bank and saying, I want money up front and the cash flow, and I want to share equity down the road, they're going to take your equity. You have to give up something for the bank to do that. And a lot of people don't understand what they're getting up. And keep in mind, only if everything works out perfect does that work out perfect.